TTU Snapback. Hey DECAP, I see the SP-404 on your desk. In your opinion, is it worth purchase if you aren't a huge sample beat maker? The onboard effects seem really nice for production. In my humble opinion, yes. I love the SP-404. Shout out to Roland. The SP-404 is gold. For the effects alone, I mean, you can't get anything like that. It has so many dope effects. If I run my Prophet 10 through it, it's got all the effects I want. So real quick, I can hit a reverb. Check. Compressors, reverb, all kinds of shit. And it's all hardware. I love it. So that's just one thing. It's got the built-in effects, which is amazing for my keyboards. I have my whole studio running right through this 404. This microphone is going into my preamp, to the compressor, to the mixer, and the mixer's going into the 404. All my keyboards are going into the mixer. So everything's running through the 404. And not only that, I have sound effects on it for the stream. And if I want to start a beat, I have drums. So I can do... You know what I mean? So I can just hit record in Ableton and we're good to go. This is how I run everything through the SP-404. So here's my 404. And as you can see right up here, this is my mixer. It's basically a 1 rack unit mixer. And I can hook 16 channels up into it. How I have it hooked up is my microphone that I'm talking on right now is going into my preamp and then into my compressor, and it's going into a channel on the mixer. My Prophet 10, my Summit, my Prophet 6, and my Sub 37 are all going into separate mixer channels. So from that mixer, the output of the mixer is going into the input of the SP-404. Anytime I turn on the effects, mic check, you can hear my voice has reverb on it. I can affect it, I can edit the reverb and all that. If I play a note on the Prophet, that's dry, and if I hit the effects button, you can hear some reverb. So everything is going through the mixer, which is going through the 404, which is going directly into my interface. That's how I have it set up, so all my sounds go in through the SP-404. The 404 is going in through the 500 series. So when I play a drum, this is dry. Sounds from drums that knock. I can start affecting it. Watch this. As I start playing with the 500 series, I can run effects in real time. So check it out. The first two are EQ. It's an API EQ. So I can turn it on. Now the EQ is on. So say I need more high end. Say I want to cut the low end out. Basically everything that goes into the SP goes through the whole 500 series. Then I have tubes. So if I want to run my drums through some tubes to give it warmth, check this out. That's with the tube. That's without the tube. So now at the end of the chain, I have an SSL so I can compress it. I really love running 808s through the tube. I have a few different interfaces. I have the Apollo X8 as like the brain of my studio. So that's where I run the console and all the effects and all that kind of stuff. So if I have a vocalist come through, I don't use the Apollo for any conversion because I'm not a big fan of the conversion on the Apollo. Personally, my converter from analog to digital, I use the RME ADI2 Pro. It's an expensive converter, but it sounds really good because for the shit that I do with making drum sounds and all that, I just want to have the best possible conversion. So I'm running everything into the ADI2, which is then digitally going into the Apollo X8 through a SPDIF cable. And I have two different converters that I use for output. So when I'm mixing or listening back, my main converter, which is like the best DAC you can buy, is a Crane Song Solaris. All it does is play audio. It costs more than the Apollo. But right now I'm using the Grace M900 DAC, which is not as expensive, but it sounds really good. I love the sound of it. You can get it for like $600. I use this for travel. The reason I'm using it now is because it's easy and convenient to just have this knob that I can adjust volume for. And that's plugged right into my Vocaliers. Do I need a lot of channels for my interface for 500 series? No, the way I have it set up is the 500 series is chained into each one. On the top, I have a normalized patch bay. If you look at it, this is the EQ, and the EQ goes into the next one, which goes into the next one, which goes into the next one, which goes into my interface right here. So everything chains into each other. My whole setup is 2 inputs right now, that's it. Because everything's going into the mixer, which all sums down to the 404, which all goes into the 500 series. And then 2 outputs from the 500 series goes right into my interface. So I'm only using 2 inputs for the whole setup right now. I don't even have multiple inputs. I don't need it. It's a simple but complex setup. It is expensive, but sometimes you got to pay the cost. It is what it is. I like gear, and I say this all the time. Don't be discouraged because I have a bunch of expensive gear. For one, I've been doing this shit a long time. Because of it, I have the money to buy nice gear. But when I started, it was with a laptop. And to be honest, all you really need is a laptop. You don't need to be having all kinds of expensive shit. I have expensive shit because I like it. That's the bottom line. Music is my passion. Production is my passion, but you don't need it. I could do everything I do with just a laptop and this MIDI controller, and we're good. Give me some good headphones. It's important to me. Give me a good interface, and we're good. I don't need all this shit. But I love it, and that's why I have it.